Hello yoga family, welcome back for yoga class. Today is going to be about standing work, but focusing on balance, strength, flexibility, how to come into standing postures safely without the need to move really fast. We don't want to move with momentum. We want to focus more on getting into the posture, finding that right alignment, feeling the engagement, feeling the stretch, noticing all the sensation, and safely coming into that posture. Now, because some of you are working with balance, it might be more comfortable for you to set your mat up to a wall space. This way you have the option to either use the wall as a prop, or you can back off taking your hands away once you feel like you're ready to progress. So let's get started. Let's come on to our feet in a standing position. As you come into your standing position, set your feet up in a way that's comfortable for you. Maybe lifting the toes and spreading them. Inhale, bring the shoulders up to the ears, and as you exhale, bring the shoulders back and down. And let's take a couple more. Just shrugging away any tension from the shoulders. Inhale, let the arms rise up. Let the hands connect. And as you exhale, take both arms over to one side. Feel the opening in the side body. You can lower the bottom arm if you'd like. Continue to reach. Inhale, bring both arms up. And then exhale, take the arms opposite direction. Bottom arm can lower down if that feels better. Continue to reach and make sure your top arm bicep is above your ear. Inhale, arms rise up. We're going to do that one more time on each side. This time, as you reach your arms over to one side, send the hips in the opposite direction. Feel the side body opening up. Inhale, lift the fingers straight up to the ceiling. And exhale, lean over opposite direction. Inhale, come up. Now as you exhale, separate your hands, dive forward. Come into a standing forward fold. Release your head, let the top of the head face down to the mat. Maybe your palms touch the mat. Maybe your fingertips. Maybe your arms don't touch at all, and that's okay. You also have the option to take your hands to opposite elbows, framing your head with your arms, getting more traction in the spine, feeling the decompression of the spine and the stretch in the back muscles. Here you might bend one knee at a time. As one knee bends, opposite leg straightens. Let's do that one more time. The leg that's straight, send that hip back. And then opposite side. Back to center. Release your hands if they're not already. Inhale, take a half lift. Bring your palms to your shins. Reach the crown of your head forward. And then exhale, fold again. Now bend your knees. Slowly start to rise up to a standing position, taking your time. There is no rush. And once you get to your standing position, take the shoulders up, back, and down again. Bring your hands to your hips. Now, two different variations of what we're going to do for this standing balance. For one variation, you can be in the free space. And the movement will be to inhale, lift one knee, exhale, open the knee out, inhale, bring it back in, exhale, take it down. Now, if you try that and you feel wobbly and uncomfortable, please bring yourself to the wall space. Take one hand to the wall. Opposite hand comes to the hip. Now, this is what the movement will look like. Inhale, lift the knee in line with the hip. Exhale, open the knee out. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, tap it down. And then inhale, lift again. Exhale, open up. Inhale, find center. Exhale, tap down. Okay, so those are the two options. Pick the one that you'd like to do. I'll demonstrate both of them, one side at a time. So to start off, either taking your hand to the wall or finding that comfortable stance in your feet. Remember, your feet are now your foundation. Root down, rise up through the crown of your head. If you're in the free space, take your hands to your hips. Shift the weight to the foot that's your foundational foot. Inhale, bring the knee up. Exhale, open it out. Inhale, bring it back into center. Exhale, tap it down. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, tap it down. Last time, inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale, set that foot down. Lean weight to this foot. Stay in the free space or use the wall. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, open the knee. Inhale, take it to center. Exhale, tap it down. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale, tap it down. We've got one more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, find center. Exhale, bring that foot down. Take your hand off the wall. Step one foot out. Get a wider stance. Bringing fluidity and mobility to the hips, start to take hip circles. Now, these circles can be small or the circles can be bigger. Notice that if the circles are bigger, as you bring your glutes back, you'll feel a stretch at the hamstrings. And as you move around in circles, you might even feel a stretch at the inner thighs. Just enjoy the sensation as you move around in your circles and then take it opposite direction. Take another circle just to bring it back to center. Now keep the feet wide. Lower the arms down. Open the toes out, heels in. Take the palms to slide down the thighs as you sit back. Deep bend in the knees. You can take the heel of your hands to the hip crease, straightening the arms, sitting low. Another way to find traction for the spine. Maybe shifting from side to side if that feels okay in your body. Find your way to center. Take your palms to the middle of your thighs with your thumbs facing in. Take an inhale breath with your torso at center. As you exhale, dip one shoulder forward for a spinal twist. Inhale, bring the torso to center. Exhale, opposite shoulder dips. And repeat. Inhale, center. Exhale, shoulder dip. As you move with your breath, notice the sensation in your spine. Take one more on each side. Remember that each time we spinal twist is an opportunity to detoxify. Now, once you come back to center, press your feet to the mat, straighten the legs, send the heels out. So the heels are now in line with the toes. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, open your heart, bring your elbows towards each other. Exhale, dive forward. Take your hands from your hips down to the mat. If your hands don't reach the mat, that's okay. You can take blocks to bring the floor up to you. Remember, the blocks have 3 different heights, so find the height that's most appropriate. If you're more flexible, you won't need the blocks at all. So the palms can be simply resting on the mat. As the head lowers down, the hands might come to the ankles if that feels okay. If you feel wobbly, you're going to want to bring your hands back to the mat for support. On your next inhale breath, take a half lift. Pause here for an exhale. Take hands to the hips. Inhale, crown of the head rises up. Now, the foot that you have closest to the wall, rotate that foot so the toes are now facing the wall. As you do this, start to bend that knee. You want this knee tracking above the ankle. Now, the back toes are going to swivel. So now all 10 toes are facing the same direction. When you look down at your feet, you want them in separate lanes. So I moved my foot over before. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. So we don't want the feet in the same lane. We want separate lanes. We want a little wider. Think hip distance. The back heel should be lifted. The knee at the front leg needs to stay above the ankle. This is our crescent lunge. As we're starting, we might bring our hands to the wall because that's going to feel more supported. If you notice that you're leaning forward, like I'm demonstrating right now, then a good way to come out of that is to bring your toes of the front foot all the way up to the wall so that your hands can comfortably reach, so that your shoulders are above your hips now. Now you can practice staying here. For more engagement, as you inhale, you can bend your back knee and then exhale, straighten. So maybe taking a couple more. And then back to a straight leg. Some of you are going to feel comfortable in your balance and you might let the arms rise up. If at any point this does not feel good, take your hands or your fingertips back to the wall. You can also do this with a chair in front of you. Now let's turn that back foot to 90 degrees. We're setting up for a different standing position. As you look down to your feet, you might have to realign them. I suggest taking your front heel in line with your back heel or in line with the arch of the foot. So we're setting up for warrior 2. That front knee stays above the ankle. From here, we fly the arms. Now my hand is pressed against the wall because I don't have room. If you're away from the wall, the fingers are going to reach forward, wrist in line with shoulders. Your gaze is going to be to your front middle finger. You're pressing to the outside of your back foot and into the front toes. Relax the shoulders. Remember, you can always take your hand to the wall if you need to. Now press into that front foot. Straighten the front leg. Reach your fingers forward. Notice how it feels when you rotate your arms. Now, a lot of you might not be able to bring your hand down to the ground. This is triangle pose. You'll find it more accessible if you bring a block underneath your hand and then reach your top fingers up. Nice stretch for the inner thigh of the front leg. Reaching up with the top fingers, arms are in line with each other. Think about sending the top shoulder and the top hip back. Just breathe here. Triangle pose in Sanskrit is called Trikonasana. Now as we inhale, we're gonna come back to warrior two arms. Keep the legs straight, and we're gonna reverse that triangle. So now back arm comes to the back leg. Front arm fingers reach up to the ceiling. You might even gaze up to the ceiling. Notice how that shifts your balance. Now come back to your warrior two. You can let the block go for now. Drop your back hand, reach your front fingers up, and then maybe reach overhead. This arm and the back can be at your back leg, or it can come behind your back. Keep that front knee bent. Nice big stretch from the hip to the arm. And then back to our warrior two. Remember, you can stay at the wall anytime you need to. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, you can bend your right elbow, bring your forearm to the middle of your thigh, not your knee, and then reach the top arm up. The fingers can stay up or the arm can come overhead. Keep a bend in that front knee. Keep pressing to the outside of the back foot. Long line of energy from the back foot to the fingertips on the same side of the body. If you're looking up and that hurts your neck, know that you can look down. And then back to warrior two. From warrior two, bring your hands to your hips. Straighten the front leg. Bring the toes together. And then heel toe the feet together. Now, as we bring our feet together, simply notice how one leg, one hip feels compared to the other. You might notice a difference because we haven't done the sequence on the other side yet. We're going to come into that. So if you were using the wall, you're going to want to come back to the wall. I'm going to demonstrate without it to show the other side. So this time, opposite foot comes forward. We're set up for our crescent lunge. So remember, when you set yourself up, that front knee needs to be above that front ankle. We want the feet on separate lanes. So think hip distance. Now, if you're at the wall, your hands, your palms are going to be connected to the wall. If you're not at the wall, your fingers are going to rise up to the ceiling. Another thing you can do for your balance, if you don't want to bring the hands up, but you don't want to be at the wall, is to bring your hands to your hips. So we can play around with that back leg, inhale, bending the knee, and then exhale, straightening. If we're taking that option, we'll take two more. And then once that leg is straight, we'll rotate that back foot to 90 degrees, and we'll open our arms for warrior two. Let's pause here and look at our feet. Because our feet were in separate lanes, now we need to check to make sure that that front heel is in line with the back heel or the back arch of the foot. Fingers are reaching in opposite directions. Gaze is going to be to that front middle finger. If you're at the wall, you're going to have your palm at the wall, okay? Warrior two, strong engagement here. Relax the shoulders. If you feel tension, let them sink away from the ears. And then press into your front foot. Now, in our triangle pose, if you don't want to rotate the arms, you can simply stay here. If you do want to rotate the arms, you're going to reach the front fingers forward and then rotate the arms. Now, some of you might want to bring the back of your hand to your inner leg, to your inner thigh. Some of you might want the support of the block. This is really up to you. If you have a block, that's great. If not, let the back of the hand come to the inner thigh. Reaching those top fingers up. Now rotate the arms, keep the legs as they are. We're going to reverse our triangle. Reach those top fingers up. Feel the lengthening happening. And then come into your warrior two. Lot of activation. If someone walked in the room right now, they might think that we're not doing very much at all, but we're activating lots of parts of the body. Now, from our warrior two position, we'll let the back arm come down to the back leg. Lift the fingers up. Reach for the ceiling. Maybe that arm comes behind the back. Maybe you reach overhead. Keep the front knee bent. Feel the stretch in the side body, and then come back to warrior two. Bend the front elbow, bring the forearm to the thigh, not the knee, the thigh. Reach the fingers up. Option to stay here or reach your arm overhead. As you're positioning yourself, your bottom palm is facing up to the sky and your top palm is facing down to the earth. Reach, create a long line of energy from your back foot to your fingertips. This is our extended side angle. And then inhale, warrior two. Press into that front foot. Turn the toes, same direction. Lower the hands down. Maybe bring your hands to your hips. Maybe you're staying at the wall. And just heel toe the feet closer together. Good. So maybe you take a moment, maybe you take a breath, maybe you grab water, whatever you need. Just know that we're going to be coming back to the wall in this space, and we're going to be coming into a standing balance with a hip opener, a deep hip opener. So if you have blocks, you might want to set them up. You don't need blocks if you're working with the wall. Just need the blocks if you want to advance. All right, so when you're ready to continue on, take your feet facing the wall just in case you need the wall. I really recommend starting here. If you're starting with the wall, you're going to take your palms, both palms to the wall, thinking about positioning in line with the shoulders. Now choose one leg. It doesn't matter which one you start with because we're going to do both. But one leg is going to be the foundational leg. So you're going to shift the weight there. The opposite leg, you're going to lift your knee just like we did at the start of our practice. And then you're going to open that knee out. Bring your ankle to opposite thigh. As you do this, you'll notice that you're going to have to shift your hands over to keep them centered. Then you'll sit back as if you're looking for a chair. You might want to walk your hands down the wall. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to look down to your standing foot. Make sure your knee is not coming past your toes. Feel a deep stretch at the hip. Now, if you're at the wall, maybe you take the palms off and just bring the fingertips to the wall. Maybe you take the hands off the wall altogether. Maybe you sit a little deeper. But you know that the wall is there for support if you need to come back to it. If you want to go even deeper, you can take the blocks to the mat. Take your hands to the blocks and continue to sit back. Take whatever option's working for your body. And once you've had enough, come out, lift that foot, take it down. Now, before we come into the other side, the leg that was just your foundational leg, let's lift the knee and let's take some circles. Just releasing any tension, 3 circles in one direction, and then 3 circles opposite direction. And then that foot comes down. Now, opposite foot is going to be our foundational foot. We know that if we're working with the wall, we take our hands to the wall first to set up. We shift the weight into our standing foot, lift the opposite foot, send the knee out, Bring the ankle to the thigh and start to walk the hands down the wall. Now look down to your standing foot. Make sure your knee is not coming past your toes. Feel that nice stretch in the hip. You might notice one hip different than the other. So maybe you play around with taking your hands off the wall. Maybe you take the option of using the blocks. Some people can bring their fingertips all the way down to the mat. Now don't push yourself. If you notice that you've gone too far, then back out a little bit. Give yourself a break. And come out when you're ready. And as you come out, now we're going to take our hip circles for that opposite hip that we just opened up. So keeping one hand at the wall, we just draw 3 circles with the hip and then 3 circles opposite direction. I'm feeling gratitude for everything our hips let us do, and then let that foot go. Now, I know that for some people, standing balance work is a lot, and some of us can go deeper when we're actually sitting. So another variation I'd like to show you is on a chair. So you see me sitting on a bench. You can sit in any type of chair that's comfortable for you to do this. And this is one that I do a lot when I'm stuck in a chair. For example, if I'm at the airport and I'm at a layover or something like this. So you can stretch anywhere. This is how you do it in your chair. First of all, make sure there's room so that you can bring your back all the way against the wall. This means that the back of the knees are going to be right at the edge of that chair, okay? More or less, depending on how tall you are. Now we start with our feet hip distance, and just like we did before, we're gonna lift one foot, bring the ankle to the thigh, the knee splays out. Now, it's so important for you to sit all the way back, because if you don't, if you're at the edge of your seat and you fold forward, you're gonna feel like you're gonna topple over, and that might even happen. So sit all the way back so that you've got the support of your thighs on the chair, and that way when you fold forward, you feel really safe and secure. Now, once the legs are set up, take an inhale breath. Exhale, hinge at the hips, lean forward. Now, as you lean forward, you might already feel a nice stretch in your hip. You might be able to go deeper by letting your arms dangle and letting your head release down. Nice deep stretch for the hip, feeling completely supported in the chair. This is a really nice place to start if you are feeling pretty wobbly with the wall support today. And then to come out, you're gonna rise up on an inhale breath. Let your entire back find the back of the chair or the wall, depending on where you're sitting. Release your top foot. Bring your foot back down to hip distance. Take a full round of breath here. Inhaling to the top of the breath. And as you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Coming into the other side, lift your foot. Rotate the knee out, external rotation. Make sure that your ankle is just above your knee, but not on the knee. We want to avoid bone-on-bone compression. Foot is flexed to protect the knee joint. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe you feel enough of a stretch. Maybe you can go deeper, bringing your arms in front of your legs, letting the arms dangle, release the head and the neck. And simply notice the stretch. On an inhale breath, start to come out. Rolling up, straightening the spine, and feeling the entire back up against the back of the chair or the wall. Take a full round of breath here. Release that top foot. And stand up off the chair and come back onto your mat. I'm going to incorporate one more prop for our practice today. And this is a prop that we've talked about before when we talk about therapeutics. So this is a lacrosse ball. I really like a lacrosse ball for the foot. Some people prefer a tennis ball to start, and some people that really have a lot of stress and tension in the foot like a golf ball. That's going to be much more intense. So because we've been in some standing positions today and we've really been working the foot, we want to just open up that space at the bottom of the foot. So standing on one leg, just lift opposite foot, bring it to the ball, and then just lean your weight forward. Notice how that feels. And then back out a little bit and start to roll that ball underneath your foot. Now, if you want more intensity, more pressure, all you have to do is lean forward. The more you lean forward, the more you're going to feel that tension breaking up. So I like to roll the ball all the way around. I feel a lot of tension in the arch of the foot. You can take it to the ball of the foot and then roll it around towards the heel. And just simply notice on this foot where you're holding the most tension, and maybe you pause there and lean in and take another breath. So this is another option that you can do for as long as you'd like. Just releasing any tension from standing balance work. When you're ready to come out, lift your foot, bring your foot on the mat, and just notice the difference between both feet. The one that you've just worked the tension out probably feels a little flatter. Some space has been created, some congestion has been released. So we're going to do that on the other side, taking the lacrosse ball or the tennis ball or the golf ball, whatever it is that you have to work with, underneath that foot. Just lean forward, notice the intensity, and then back out or continue to lean depending on the level of intensity that you need. Roll the foot around, find the spaces that need the most attention, give yourself pauses there. Or maybe roll forward and back or around in circles. Give your feet some love today. Our feet do so much for us. They take us so many places, and we don't give them as much attention as they deserve. So offer that to yourself. Your feet have been holding you up for a long time. Once you've had some time with this foot, you can simply let that ball go. Send it out to the side. Bring both feet down. Feel into both feet now. Feel the difference you've created. Now, I highly suggest taking a block. If you don't have a block, you can use another prop for support. Okay, so maybe you have a foam roller, or maybe you have, I don't know, maybe a book that's not too heavy, something that's about the size of the block if you don't have one in your home space, something that you're going to be able to grab, something that can stand up. It doesn't have to be the same height, but you want to have a prop to work with. And this is going to be our last standing balance exercise. So give yourself a moment to look around your space, figure out what it is. Could even be a candle or something like that, just something that you can grab onto. Now, once you have that object, I really recommend getting blocks if you don't have them already because they're foam, and so they don't weigh very much at all. So if you drop them, it won't hurt. You can get these at TJ Maxx. I think they're like 2 for $4.99. So they're really affordable, and they're just a really great prop to have for your home practice. So I'm going to position one block onto the mat, and then I'm going to bring my feet to either side and behind the block. So I've got this triangle position. Hey Remy, thanks for joining us. So when I look down to my feet and my block, I've got this triangle situation. Now I'm going to take my hands to my hips, lean to one side, and then I'm going to lift one knee. Now once I have one knee lifted, I'm going to keep this knee lifted for the entire practice on this side. I'm going to free up the same side hand as the foot that I have lifted. Now when I'm ready, I'm going to bend my standing knee, reach for my block, and then I'm going to take the block up with me. I'm going to lower down again. And this time when I lower down, I'm going to take my block somewhere to the right, and then I'm going to inhale and rise up. And then I'm going to lower down again, grab my block, inhale, rise up. This time I'm going to take my block somewhere to the left. Let it go, and inhale, rise up. We're almost done on this side. Grabbing the block, and then taking it back to center, back to where we started. Once I rise up again, I'll bring my foot down. Woo, that's a lot of work, a lot of engagement for the standing leg hip. So we might want to come back to those hip circles, just letting that tension go. Three circles opposite direction. Now, if you noticed when you were trying on this side, if that felt a little wobbly to you, you can come back to the wall. So on this side, I'm going to demonstrate with the wall, setting up the triangle situation with the block in front of the feet. And I'm going to take my hand to the wall. This is just if you need support. So the leg that you have at the closest to the wall is your standing leg. So now I'm going to lift my opposite knee and get my block back to center. Okay, so this is my starting point. This knee is going to stay up. Now, as I lower down, I bend my knee. Your hand is going to have to slide down the wall, maybe fingertips. Reach for the block, straighten your standing leg. Now, we're going to lower down, and as we lower down, we're going to take the block somewhere to the left, fingers slide on the wall, inhale, rise up, and then we lower down again. Feel that activation in the thigh. Take the block with you, and then lower it down somewhere to the right. Let it go. Stand up. We're almost done on this side. Get that block one more time. You can use the wall if you need to. It's always an option. And then take that block back to center, back to where we started. Rise up. Let that foot come down. Back to standing. Take some hip circles. Let the tension go. And then if you're taking the circles, you're going to take 3 opposite direction. Remove the block out of the way. Back to standing, noticing how the feet feel, noticing how the hips feel. Go ahead and come onto the toes of one foot and draw circles with the heel. You might even get some cracking and popping, feeling a stretch at the top of the foot and getting ankle mobility, which is also really important. Now circle around opposite direction. And then bring the heel down. Shift the weight to the other side. Lift the heel, so you're just on the toes, and then circle around. So as if you're drawing circles with your knee or your heel, stretching the foot, getting ankle mobility. Back to thanking our feet and our ankles for all the support they give us. Circle opposite direction. Back to stillness. Let's take the feet wide. Now, this is optional. We're going to come back into hip circles. You can take hip circles, or you can challenge yourself to draw the figure 8. So the infinity symbol, think of a reclined figure 8. So you're moving your hips around in that way, releasing any tension, thanking your strong legs and your open hips for supporting you in your practice today. Back to center, heel toe the feet together. We're going to move into our relaxation time. Come onto your mat. Now we've got a couple options. Hi, sweetheart. You've got the option where you can come into traditional Shavasana, resting on your mat. Or if you'd like to take legs up the wall, you can get a little inversion. So for legs up the wall, you're going to bring one hip up to the wall, swivel yourself, and you're going to bring your back, your tailbone, your spine, your shoulders onto the mat and your head as well. The legs are going to be up the wall, feet together. Before we settle in completely, if your glutes are not all the way up to the wall, you can practice shimmying a little bit closer. Now, if you get really close and you notice that your hamstrings aren't open enough, then you can stay with some space between the glutes and the wall. To settle in, as you inhale, point your toes. Feel a really nice stretch at the top of the feet going into the shins. Exhale, flex your feet. Now feeling the stretch of the calf muscles. Inhale, point. Feels so good. Exhale, flex. And again. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Now relax the feet. Settle into your relaxation pose. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, release the air slowly. Feel your entire body melt down onto the mat. Remember that anytime you come into Shavasana, you can always grab a layer if you'd like to drape a blanket over you. If you need that nurturing touch or some more heat, layers are always appropriate. Know that each time you come into Shavasana, you're welcome to take any movement or posture you need to round out your practice. Simply listening to what your body needs before you completely relax. Give yourself all the permission to just be present in your body. With breath awareness, bring your attention to gratitude. Gratitude for this practice, and for your body that allows you to do this practice, and for the safe space that you have to do it in. Keeping the eyes closed, just breathe. Relax. If you notice yourself drifting off somewhere, just come back to your breath. Simply allowing yourself to be present in your body. Coming back to that deep gratitude for this body that's carried you throughout this life. If you'd like, you can take your hands to your heart center. Inhale, feeling the chest expand. And exhale, feel the softening. Connecting with this pranayama, this life force energy. This beautiful breath that happens all on its own. We know that anytime we feel anxious, anytime our breath shortens, we can come back to practicing lengthening the breath. Finding peace and stillness within. Let each breath be exaggerated. Notice how it feels to open the mouth with each exhalation. Allowing each exhalation to be a sigh of relief. And when you're ready, bend your knees. If your legs were up the wall, the knees will bend. Roll over to one side. If you were in a traditional Shavasana position, you can stay there or you can come onto your seat. If you were working with the wall, I'd like to encourage you to stay there, positioning your back up against the wall from your tailbone all the way up to your shoulders, all the way up to your neck. Straight spine. Let the back of your hands rest on your legs, palms facing up as an intention of receiving. Let the arms relax. The arms are passive. We'll take one more round of breath to seal our practice today. Inhale deeply to the top of the breath. Exhale, let it go. If you'd like to join me in closing our practice today, you can bring your palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Bowing your forehead down to your fingertips. Bowing to yourself in gratitude for your time, energy, and effort in your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.